This is the Creative Market Free Goods Roundup for the week of December 15th, 2014. There are 6 different free goods this week, but they are free this week only. So if when you're watching this video, any of these items look like something you might have a use for, be sure to pick them up this week while they're still free. But I'm going to start at the top here with Space Type, which is a WordPress theme. This is a WordPress portfolio theme, and WordPress themes are really nice for people who just want to get something online relatively easily without a whole bunch of headaches, as WordPress is a pretty friendly content management system to work within. And if I shrink this down smaller, you can tell that it is a responsive website, so it should look good no matter what kind of device you are viewing the website on, but I'm going to enlarge it again here. And this is a very robust theme. If I click on one of these images here, you can tell it brings up its own page, and a lot of these pages behave differently, so I do recommend you check out the live preview on the actual product page, so you can see how all these different pages look, since I won't have time to go through absolutely all of them. But under the features here, there's a whole bunch of different things included in this particular theme. I'll go to the grid composing section quickly here so you can see the overall layout options. The overall grid layout looks very clean. I think it's handled very well. There's a bunch of different varieties here and how you can actually choose to lay out your type. If you go into the blog, it's actually a very robust blog once it loads up here. There's a calendar section along with recent posts and recent comments. A very clean layout for the actual blog post, and as you can see, it does support YouTube video embedding, and I'm sure it works for Vimeo as well. There's a social icons section here with a bunch of different icons that you could embed in this particular theme. If you go to contact, it brings up a nice large map up the top here, along with a place to either show yourself or people working for your team. There's a contact us section with a simple name, email, and message section where you can send a message, as well as a spot to put all the relevant information for your business or personal design practice. So once again, this is a very robust theme. I do recommend you actually check out the live preview. You can go through here and check out how all these different pages behave. There's a bunch of different layout options and they all look very clean and professional, so I think that's very cool. So if you think you'll have use for this portfolio theme, it's a definite recommendation for me because it's very professionally handled. I think it has a lot of features. It seems like it's a pretty in-depth theme. Pick it up this week while it's still free. Next we have Coffee Retro Badges. So this file has 6 different coffee related logos, and it does include it in Illustrator, EPS, Photoshop, as well as PDF formats, and I have it open in Adobe Photoshop to show it here, and each of the different 6 logos is in its own group. If I click this group on or off, you can tell it's nicely grouped together. Each of the type layers is on its own layer, and the type is live, so if I want to change the word coffee to be something else, I can go ahead and do that. It's really quick and easy to do, and it's also nice that they center justify the type so that when you make the changes, it stays nice and centered to the overall logo here. But there's a nice selection of different logos to choose from, and I think my personal favorite part of this logo set is the actual coffee icons here. So they did include those icons on their own layer inside an Illustrator as well as an EPS format. So you can go ahead and mix and match these different coffee related elements and icons here to make your own custom little coffee cups if that's something you want to do. I think that's a really cool addition for this pack to customize it up a little bit. But there's 6 different logos to choose from. All the layouts are pretty solid in my opinion, and all the fonts used in this are free, and there is a list included that shows you where to download all these different free fonts. So if you think you'll have use for any one of these 6 different free coffee logos or any one of these different coffee cup icons, be sure to pick this pack up this week while it's still free. Next up is hand-drawn coffee illustrations. This file includes 8 different PNGs of various coffee-related items that are hand-drawn, and I should note that I just added in a white background to these to make them a little bit easier to see in the video, but by default they all have a transparent background, and these are all different sizes, but if I go to this particular image, it's roughly 1900 by 1500 pixels, so these are nice and big, and if I zoom into 100% here, you can see how this looks up close. There's an interesting dithering effect applied to the whole image that gives it that hand-drawn effect, and I'm just going to scroll through these 8 different included PNGs of various coffee-related elements here so you can see everything that's included in this pack. So this pack will be particularly useful if you're doing any kind of work for a coffee shop or coffee house, or if you own one yourself, this might be a perfect pickup for you. I could see these as being a nice little addition to a menu or promotional piece, anything along those lines that might come in pretty handy, but a nice selection of 8 different hand-drawn items, all with a coffee-related theme. So if you have any projects in mind where you might find these 8 different hand-drawn coffee-related items useful, be sure to pick it up this week. And these bottom 3 goods are free on Facebook. To get them, just hit this free on Facebook button, like Creative Market, and then a download link will appear. It's super fast and easy to do. So on the left here we have mountains, which is a high resolution photo set. This file includes 17 different JPEG photos of mountains, so I have 12 randomly selected here to show. And if I go to image and then image size, you can tell these are very large images. This is roughly 5200 by 3500 pixels, so it should be plenty big for both web and print work. So I'm going to scroll through these different images of mountains here so you can get a basic idea of what's what's included with this pack. There's a pretty nice selection of different mountain images here. They look like they're all taken probably in the same mountain range, and they all have a very faded coloration to them. But there are some very nice shots in here, like this image right here in particular I really like. So do be sure to check out the entire 17 included images when you download this pack. This image right here is another fantastic shot. I think a lot of these would work really well as a header image on a website and other situations like that where you want a really nice kind of majestic view, maybe to overlay some text over. But it's certainly a nice collection of images to choose from here. And there's also this nice close-up image of flowers that's a little bit different than what's included with the rest of the pack, but it's a nice addition. And this last image here might be one of my favorites. It's a really nice overview shot of Mount Rainier. So a very cool pack of 17 different images, and if you think you'll have use for any one of these 17 different images in one of your projects, be sure to pick it up this week while it's still free. Next up is Chocolate, which is a Photoshop action. These are Photoshop actions, so you will need Adobe Photoshop to use this, and inside the download file there is a PDF that goes over how to install these, so be sure to check that out before you use these if you aren't too familiar with using actions. And I went ahead and used one of the images. It's actually one of the images from another free good this week of the Mountain Photo Pack, so if you like this image, be sure to check out that free good as well. But I actually went ahead and ran all these different actions. In my actions window, you can see it right here. There's the chocolate folder with each one of the different actions inside. There's 8 different chocolate actions as well as a sharpen action included. And when you run the action, it makes a folder. If you look at my layers palette right here, you can see each of the different folders for these different actions that I have run. So I'm just going to turn these on and off so you can get an idea of what they actually look like applied to this image. So this action right here is called White Chocolate Faded, and I actually think all these actions work fantastically well on this particular mountain image. So if you like this mountain image and you want to make it look a little bit more vintage or faded, I think these chocolate actions work pretty fantastically on this. This next action right here is called Dark Chocolate Faded, and it's worth noting that all these actions have, for instance, a light chocolate version and then a light chocolate faded version. So if I turn on light chocolate right here, you can see how this looks. It's a nice light effect that adds an overall brown tone. If I go to light chocolate faded, it's the same action, but it mats out the background elements a little bit more. So I'll turn back on light chocolate on the top here so you can see that difference. It's just a very faint difference. It just kind of desaturates things a little bit. Here's the chocolate faded. We've already looked at light chocolate faded, and here's white chocolate. So this one's a lot brighter than the other dark chocolate variations. I actually really like how it contrasts this particular image. This one right here is called Dark Chocolate. So in comparison to the white chocolate version, which is much brighter, the dark chocolate really pushes the brown overtones a whole lot more. And here's just a standard chocolate one. Nice rich browns and a very cool effect over this photo. And also included on this particular set is a sharpen action, which just goes over the image and sharpens it a little bit. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer here, and I'm going to flip on the sharpen layer so you can see the effect that it has. I'm not sure how well this is going to translate online in a video, but if I turn it off right here and then turn it back on, you can tell it just pumps up the contrast a little bit using a high pass filter. So once again, this is with it off and this is with it on. But I actually really enjoy these actions, and I think they work particularly well with the other free goods this week, the mountain photos that are included. So definitely mix and match and combine the actions with those photos if you want even more variations on those particular images. But this is a huge recommendation for me. I think this might be my personal favorite free good of the week. So if this looks like something you might have some use for, be sure to get it this week while it's still free. And this last one here, I'm sure I'm going to pronounce wrong, but I believe it's Hake Slanted, which is a font. I have this font open in Adobe Illustrator since that's a really easy way to show it, and it does include both lowercase as well as uppercase letters. If I zoom in a little bit closer on these actual letters, you can see how the letter forms look a little bit better. There's a lot of subtle inconsistencies to give this font an overall hand-drawn appearance, but I'm going to zoom back out really quick here and take a look at some of the special characters that are included. If I highlight over this type and then go to type and then glyphs, this has an absolutely massive selection of different characters to choose from, so this is definitely a very robust font in that sense. So be sure to check out all the included glyphs if you're looking for any additional characters in this set. And I went ahead and typed out Free Goods Roundup just so you can see how this looks in practice. And if you look at these different letters, especially the repeating letters like these 2 E's and these 2 O's, it does include multiple variations of each letter, which gives it a much more realistic hand-drawn appearance. Sometimes some of the hand-drawn fonts will have multiple letters that look identical when they're placed right next to each other, but this font does vary that up. So it does a much better job of giving an overall appearance of actually being hand-drawn instead of just being a hand-drawn looking font. So this is a very fun hand-drawn font with a ton of different type variations and glyphs. So if you have any projects in mind where you think this might come in handy, be sure to pick it up this week while it's still free. So that's it for this week's free goods, and do remember they are free this week only, so be sure to pick them up this week if you have any projects in mind where you think these might come in handy. And as always, the download links for all these different items is in the description of this video. And if you found this video helpful, please like and favorite, and if you want to see this video every week, please subscribe. This video is released every Monday to let you know what's free this week on Creative Market. Thanks for watching.